Hello.
How's it going?
How you doing? Still awake?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Are you still setting things up, or are we ready to go?
Nope, we're going right now. I'm just touching buttons. That's all. That's all this is just touching buttons. All right. Today we have an author. He is self-proclaimed a part-time writer, a part-time shitposter, full-time righteous asshole. Also known as an American nationalist, which is a slur to some people, and a political commentator. He is the author of the Risen series. I have on the screen some of his art he shared with me because he doesn't have I don't think we have any other pictures. And it was really hard to put a shadow person in the seat. So I cut up that art as we originally said, and I put a little picture of it there. So, so you are now a very
Oh, very
pretty
nice.
redheaded woman with a very voluptuous chest.
Hey, that's fine by me.
Now you
You should
go.
sorry for interrupting you.
Oh, you're
I
good.
was gonna say you should see what the full picture of my profile picture on Twitter is, because the full version is kind of an inside joke.
That was it.
Yeah. The whole thing was basically if I ever became famous, it would be with a picture of cropped titties.
Well, my mod approves, and he is of the African American variety. So, I mean, that's saying something, right? So, welcome in, Skithy. All right. So, well, your name on X is your book series Risen, and then you go by Reaper Rakiri on Discord here. What should I call you exactly? Because I don't want to refer to your author name. I don't think so, unless you'd like me to.
Honestly,
So,
when I first started this, and I had my original Twitter account, the one before my it was a while ago, back in 2023, it got suspended.
uh
Um, I had called the account name Official Risen LN because I wanted to make like an official looking account so people knew that that's what my account represented. But apparently it got lost in translation and everybody just started calling me Risen regardless of the fact.
oh, okay.
So it just kind of stuck.
Perfect. That's the way people go. So
Yeah, so
that's
honestly,
similar
everybody
to how
calls me
my name
Risen.
came out. Yeah.
It's just how it works.
All right. So we'll just call you Risen then. So that might get confusing with the book being that. We'll just call it the book. That way it sounds more, ominous. All right. So you are currently selling these on Amazon. It looks like you have one and two done.
Yes.
Okay. And I know
Technically, I have the first 10 written, but
ten.
I need
Oh
to
wow.
publish the rest of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any like early sales going on?
Sales, as in like discounts.
No, I mean,
I
no. Have
haven't
you have
figured out
you?
how to.
No, not even discounts. No, have you had any like sales so far? Just like from your original two that you have up there. Like,
Oh, yeah, I've had a handful of sales, mostly because I'm just kind of really bad at advertising. I don't really make much of an effort to advertise. I stopped trying, but yeah, I think it's like close to 20.
okay. Hey, that's more than I would have
It's not
sold
great.
if I ever wrote a book. So congrats. That's
Yeah, and that's since I first published volume 1, or I guess republished, I should say, back in I think it was December. Might have been earlier than that. I forgot.
no, that's still not bad. That's more books than some people sell for sure. So, and you have I think you have it on ebooks as well, right? I think that's the
Yeah, ebook and paperback.
gotcha. Do you see more like popularity with the ebooks or the paperback? Because I was planning on ordering paperbacks of your books just to kind of have them and check them
I
out. So,
actually don't know which one is more popular because I don't think it gives me an option to check what kinds of versions that they purchase. It
oh
just
really?
gives me um it shows me that volume 1 or volume 2 gets bought. I don't think it shows me paperback or ebook. Either that or I just haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, now, personal opinion, do you think ebooks are more popular or actual physical media?
I think physical media is probably gonna be more popular and is probably more popular anyways because of the fact that not only is it a physical, tangible object, it's like a collection. If you want
Yeah,
a physical collection you can see in your own home and not something you just store on your phone.
right. Yeah, that's what I think too.
There's a there's a certain level of sentimentality that comes with collecting physical books and establishing your own little mini library at home.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody that I know that's like even remotely adjacent to a bookworm or, reading, they tend to have a little collection or a library, and they, take that with very sacred pride, that they they own those books. So, perfect. All
I've been
right.
trying my best to do my own little library of all of my favorite books, and unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to buy more bookshelves
Oh yeah.
because one bookshelf has movies on it, and the other one has all the
Ah,
books, and
gotcha.
I've almost completely run out of room for all my books.
I used to have that reminds me. I used to have a huge collection of cassette tapes and like music cassettes, and then the eight
Damn, you're
tracks as
old.
well.
Cassette tapes.
Yeah, well, I'm not that old. So mid 30s, okay. I'm not ancient or nothing. But no, I had like a it was like a they came in like a almost like a briefcase. Like I got it from, my grandparents that passed away, but it was like a briefcase, and you open up and there's like, just wall to wall, just cassettes and eight tracks and stuff. So I still hold
Wow.
on to that. I can't even play them. I don't even know what half the shit is in there. So, but it's cool that I have it. So I
Well,
do.
I'm not old enough to remember, playing with a Walkman with the cassette tapes, but,
Yeah, that's
I do
before my time.
remember when, they used to have those portable CD players you could carry
Yeah.
around with you and listen to music that way.
Yeah, my favorite memory was the amount of like car wrecks that happened from people like flipping down their sun visor because they had, their giant book like strapped to the sun visor of all their CDs. So
Right, I my parents had that too.
yeah, yeah, mine did too. Yeah, yeah, and then it just went away almost immediately. So well, first they had the satellite radio, that was a huge thing, and then after that, everybody was like, "Oh, we don't need CDs anymore." Fun times, the good old '90s. Now, how old are you?
I am 25.
25. Okay, so I got 10 years on you. So, but yeah, you were still in about the same time frame.
Yep,
You were on
I'll
the
be
you were on the end of
26
it.
next month.
26 next month. Holy shit, you're old. Okay. So, well, okay, well, you're a lot younger than I thought you were actually. That's surprising considering what you have going on here. Could you tell me like what I guess what originally got you into writing, and then once we know that, what brought you to deciding to take it to the next level and do your own books?
Well, I mean, it could have started as early as me in middle school or high school because I used to not like books at all. I used to hate them because, as a hyperactive kid, you look at a screen, you see all these cool explosions, all these effects. You can't imagine that with words and text. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
And then I actually started reading books. It's like, okay, okay, I see where it's coming from.
Yeah. Yeah,
And it snowballed from there.
I feel like people think it's like a lesser form, but I feel like it's just different, and if you really commit to it, it's actually it can be pretty cool. It can actually be a really interesting use of your time, and it really exercises the brain. That's kind of what I've gotten
Yeah.
into with reading.
It
Um
definitely does exercise the brain because the words describe to you with great detail what happens, but your brain still has to compensate for what its eyes are not seeing, to think based off of what's being told to you.
do you think less people read books now because their brains are dumb?
I think people read less books now because people are dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, they just can't
I mean,
interact with it, with their imagination. I feel like a lot of people don't have an imagination anymore. They just kind of like latch onto something and just, you know, word for
when it
word it
comes to
or
people
copy it.
who are dumb, it's become so depressing and disappointing when you look at some of the videos of people online. asked the most basic shit, like, "Who is the first president of the
Oh
United
yeah.
States?" And they say, "Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln is who they say." No,
Yeah.
it's
Or Obama.
George
Yeah.
Washington.
Obama was
Obama.
the first president.
I mean, I can't remember all of them, but at least I know the basic information that
Yeah.
George Washington was the first president. Lincoln was like, what, 16th or 15th?
I don't
Something like
know,
that.
sixth, I thought, or eighth. I don't think he was that far along. He might have been.
No, he was way farther along than
Was
that. I
he?
think he
Yeah.
was the
See.
16th.
Yeah. See, I don't even know when I study history, so I don't even know where they all line up. The numbers part's goofy for me, but I I know the history of them. I just don't know which order a lot of them go in.
Right.
So
I will say though, I've picked a hell of a time to try and start selling writing and selling books with the least educated community to, latch onto these days. I'm fighting an uphill battle.
yeah, yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I think a lot of industries right now are fighting an uphill battle just because we've had so much degradation in just culture and society. So anything that
Oh yeah.
involves, media or using your brain or anything is really just, you're definitely uphill. Lincoln was the 17th president. Thank you, Skithy. And I'm assuming
Oh
you
yeah.
found a
I've
love to
lost
it.
track of that.
No, you're good. Don't worry, we're going to get off track like a bunch. So it's kind of my thing, it turns out.
All right.
But you
But
you
yeah,
started reading. At what point did you think that, hey, maybe I should pick up the pen and I can do this?
the first series, no, I think the first two series that I read that really made me feel like I wanted to start my own series was the Throne of Glass series from Sarah J. Moss. If you're familiar with that one,
I am.
all right, that's a good. That's good. I have that whole series as well. I know a lot of people give it a bunch of shit because they call it, oh my god, 50 Shades of Whitehorn or whatever, but that's not even remotely true. It's funny, but it's not even true. It's it And then the other series that I read that I got into that also wanted me to write or made me want to write was Superhuman series by Michael Carroll, if you've heard of that one.
That one I haven't. I'm assuming it's is it superhero adjacent or is it something else?
It is.
Is
Yeah.
it? Did they base anything off
But
of that? Because that sounds familiar. At least the author does.
the author Michael Carroll has written comics for the Judge Dredd series.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's where I know it. I'm a huge Judge Dredd fan, so
Yeah. So his Superhuman series, though it is superhero adjacent and it is a very superhero type of story, it definitely feels very different because I don't know how to describe it. It's something you'd have to read for yourself to understand the real feel and tone of it, because it almost feels as if you're like approaching the end of the world type of thing. And I
oh,
don't mean that in the sense of, oh my gosh, the villains, they're going to bring the end of the world. No, I mean as if like World War Z or The Walking Dead type of feeling. Like you feel the end of the world slowly encroaching on the tone of the story as you progress through the four books.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's weird. Or Crisis of Infinite Earths, I guess, would be close to that, but the consequences are permanent. It's weird.
That's interesting. So are
I,
you is that something you fancy the most out of books is like kind of the like an overwhelming like feeling of, unstoppable dread or because you don't sound like the type of guy that likes, happy ending. So like not the well, the book kind, not
well,
the
it depends on the kind of story that I'm reading. Every now and then, I do like a happy ending, but when it comes to horror movies, I want everything to fall apart.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like
We're in the same boat then.
the the Evil Dead remake, the 2013 Evil
Oh
Dead
yeah.
remake, I like that because pretty much everybody except for the girl dies,
Yeah.
and it I mean, just because she survives does not make it that much of a happy ending. It's still pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Sinister is my favorite horror movie. That one ends
Yeah. That's a
in
really good
an
movie.
extremely horrifying way.
Yeah.
I love how it ends.
Yeah, I
Um,
feel like
but
a lot of the horror movies lately too, we've kind of been getting like pretty dicked on them. Like I feel like we haven't had a really good one in a while, and when we do, it's like once every couple years.
I actually will refute that statement. I watched Backrooms, and that had a pretty good, satisfying end for me. And
Was it
even though
really?
it wasn't like as dark and as brutal as some horror movies like Sinister or Evil Dead, the way that it ends signifies some kind of like cosmic horror where you have this otherworldly existence out there that you can't stop, you can't get away from. It's just always going to be there.
Oh,
It's
really?
creepy and morbid.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I thought it was a meme movie, so I skipped it.
It
So
is a meme
is
movie,
it
but
okay?
it's
But it does have a
really
good.
well done.
Is it okay? I'll have to check it out then.
Yes.
The last horror movie I watched, I think that I actually like enjoyed start to finish, and it wasn't like didn't really have too many bad points, was probably Annihilation. But that was based off of a book, and I guess the book was really good. I didn't get a chance to read the
I
book,
saw that
but
too. That was pretty good.
yeah. So I liked that one a lot, just because it had, it left the ending open. I like when they leave the ending open, but in a good way, where it pushes you to what you should be thinking about rather than just anything. It doesn't leave everything
Yeah.
up for contention. It kind of pushes you in a degree. So I liked that. And the only other movie before that, there's the Tooth Fairy one. I don't know if you remember that one. That one scared the fuck out of me.
Um, the one I haven't seen the horror movie The Tooth Fairy, but I've heard of the Tooth Fairy with Dwayne Johnson, the stupid one.
No, this was maybe it's not called the Tooth. It was the one where there was the no, it was something else. It was a different movie. It was the one with the kids, the two kids that were in the abandoned house in the woods, and they were like little animals, but they survived because some like ghost mother thing was taking care of them. But
You
it
mean
was
the
like
ghost?
no, I don't know. It was like two kids, and like
Oh,
they were riding in a car with their dad, and their dad crashed the car, and they were like practically babies, and this like entity or whatever like was taking care of them, but they were like basically feral children when they were found by like humans in like an abandoned
I've never
cabin.
heard of that.
Yeah, I need to find that movie. Yeah, that one was fantastic. That one scared the fuck out of me too. And then the
Uh,
Crazies, if you ever saw that, that's kind of
I've
an
never
older
seen
movie.
that. I've heard of it though. The
Fantastic.
movie that I referred to, Pay the Ghost, was actually a Nicolas Cage movie, if you could believe that,
Oh, was it?
in a horror movie. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So the premise of that is that Nicolas Cage has his son like vanish completely while he was like still holding on to him. His kid just vanished into thin air,
Oh,
and then a year later he still isn't found, and then randomly like he appears on a bus driving by him screaming out to him for help, and he and Nick Cage's character finds out that this ghost has been taking children regularly on like a yearly basis.
oh,
And
he just puts him in a bus, or
no, it's just like in random places for some
oh,
reason.
okay. Well, that sounds kind of cool. I need to check that one out, especially if it's a. Yeah, I didn't know he did that, so I don't think I even heard that movie. So that's interesting.
Yeah. It doesn't have like a lot of really good jump scares. The But it does have one that is really, really well done. Is in a scene where Nick Cage is talking to some guy on the street, and he's like this homeless guy pouring over a fire. You see the fire flicker a certain way, and then street lights, or not street lights, like car lights, drive past and illuminate a ghost hiding behind Nick Cage while he's talking to the guy,
Oh
just
shit.
randomly. Like this ghost is watching his move the entire time that he's trying to look for his kids, and that part freaked me out the most. I was like, "What the?"
That's pretty badass. Now, did you? So did you?
Yeah.
So you read these, you got into reading, and then, I mean, I can tell you're very passionate about it. Did you?
Yes,
Did you just hit the ground running and start, like theory crafting and writing, or did you?
I did. I tried. Honestly, the first attempt I made was, I guess, fan fiction work of Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson series. I wanted to see
Oh,
if I couldn't figure something out with that, and it went nowhere. Um,
But you surely got
and
the
I kept
experience out of it.
experimenting with different ideas.
Yeah.
What was that?
Oh, you surely got some experience out of it, though. I feel like that's a really good place to start.
Yeah, I got plenty of experience working on it. Um, but I think what really got to me was the lore building with the Throne of Glass series, 'cause between that and the Dark Souls series, which I also got into, at around the same time that I started writing or reading books, like, very, very often.
Oh, yeah.
Something about the way that the historical lore is presented in both, the Throne of Glass series and the Dark Souls games, um, kinda stuck out at me. I got really into that.
Interesting. So, and then that was probably during and probably right after when you were doing the fanfic thing. So you just use that to accelerate your game, kind of, as what.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
Now, did you just jump into writing like this series right after that, or did you have any other like kind of test fanfic episodes
Um
or?
I did try something else. It wasn't a fanfic. It was an idea that was kind of not horror based per se, but more like a government conspiracy and human experimentation story. But
Oh, that's
that
cool.
also didn't go anywhere.
Oh, really? Oh man, that's
Yeah.
got to be my favorite type of book. So I love
I mean, I can
conspiracies.
still work on something like that. I do have a couple of other ideas workshopped right now. I mean, if you want, I can share those ideas later, but we can focus on this for now.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
After after I kind of dropped that idea, it was my senior year in high school when I cooked it up, and it didn't go anywhere. I spent like over a year just theorizing over what kind of story I would want, coming up with ideas, coming up with with characters, motivations, arcs, different countries, all that other stuff. And I kept going for it for that year until about 2019. I first started writing the actual story itself in August, and that
Oh,
was 7 years ago.
and right on the cups of the whole COVID thing as well. So
Yes, yes, right on the cups of that.
I don't see that affecting your writing process at all, though. If anything, that probably helped it, maybe.
It didn't affect it, or it didn't hurt or help it, because COVID didn't stop me in any way. I just kept going to different jobs. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't halt my life in any way.
That's good. Yeah, I was kind of the same way at the time. The job I had was considered essential or whatever. And then I live in Montana. So, like, they didn't really give a fuck too much up here when it was going down. Like, there was, mask bullshit, but it wasn't
Right.
crazy. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to hunt you down and hit you with needles because we love you,
Well,
it wasn't any of that
at
shit.
the time of that whole COVID nonsense, I had actually moved out of Nebraska
Oh,
back in 2019, and then moved to Washington because of some family circumstances in which I almost became homeless.
oh, wow.
And so I went to crash with my mother for a few months before I got a new job, and found a roommate who I stayed with for over 3 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
then after that, I became homeless.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well,
But
you're not
it's fine.
you're not currently homeless, are you? Or did you?
No,
What became of
I
that?
moved back to Nebraska in 2024,
Mhm.
and I've been living in the same apartment since then.
Okay, so you're in a better place then.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay,
All things considered, though, me being homeless was not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. It was actually pretty peaceful,
I could see that.
because it wasn't peaceful when I was in the city area. Because I mean, I got a bunch of stuff stolen from me, so I just took all my stuff that I still had and shacked up in the forest for 9 months.
Oh wow. Oh, like a mountain man. Right on. I was homeless in
Yeah,
college, so I can definitely relate. I had a similar situation going on. So, but yeah, it is what you make it. I feel like people who do experience that, kind of like the lowest of the low that you can, kind of hit and then recover from it. I
yeah,
think that makes you uh, a really powerful and smart person once you realize, the amount of stuff you can do that you don't even know you can do to get through situations. So I really
I
respect that.
had I had the benefit of, preparing weeks in advance for being homeless by having one of my friends watch my cats, during that time and finding a location in Washington to shack up in the forest near, gyms so I could take showers there and keep
Oh,
myself clean.
all right.
So I was very well prepared.
Perfect. Yeah, I was going to college while homeless actually. So, and I would take showers at the truck stops. I'd go in and chat up a truck driver and be nice to him. He'd be like, "Oh, you need a shower? Here you go." And they'd use their their little loyalty card because they get free showers. So, and I would just shower
Oh,
there
that's
every
cool.
morning and then go to class. So, yeah. So no, I definitely feel it. Yeah, we gotta do what we got to do.
Yeah.
So
My
you,
fat ass was sticking up in Denny's every other day, writing chapters.
oh hell yeah.
I Oh, yeah. I was eating there all the time and writing chapters to the point that, the waitresses, they knew my usual at the time because I was there so often.
That's funny. A very very small side story. We used to have a Denny's and they closed it because they're running a brothel out of it. So we don't have a Denny's anymore. So
Oh my gosh.
because it was right between two hotels. They were running a brothel out the back. So yeah. So, no more Denny's for us, but I don't know. It reminded me of that.
Prime business strategy.
It was, yeah, yeah. They got away with it for like 20 years or something. That was pretty crazy.
Wow. Running a brothel for 20 years in the United States.
Out of a
That's
out of a
kinda
Denny's,
shocking.
out of a Denny's, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was the craziest news we'd ever had because it's Montana. Most we ever hear is, "Oh, this guy got eaten by a bear," and it's like, and we're getting 3 feet of snow tomorrow. It's like that's the whole news. so, so yeah, that was a pretty crazy story that came out when it happened. Um,
Yeah,
so
I bet.
so if you were to name like one book that helped you the most or was like your favorite book, what would it be?
Well, that's a difficult question because a book that would help me the most and my favorite book would be 2 different books.
Okay, so
My
let's
favorite
let's
book
do your favorite book and
is
then let's
in
do the one that inspired you the most. Let's do that then.
Alright. My favorite book, was actually from Michael Carroll's Superhuman series. It's Hunter.
Uh-huh.
That is still my favorite book of all time. I love it to death, and I still have it here, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Trying to think.
I still have my favorite book. It was the original Dune was my all-time favorite book. So
I haven't read that, actually. I've just seen the movies with, Chalamet.
the movies were very true to the book, I'd say. In part two, they changed a
Okay.
bunch of stuff, but they went off of the original author's notes after he passed away rather than what was written in the books that his children finished. So everybody says, oh, it wasn't true to the book. Well, but it was true to the author. And so I think a lot of people forget that part or don't know it.
Alright.
But no, yeah, the
As
movies are great.
far as the book that inspired me the most, that's also really difficult to answer because there's so many I could choose from. It's kind of like an amalgamation of different books that would have given me the biggest amount of inspiration. There's Berserk, there's, the Throne of Glass series, and then there's some mangas like Bleach. Oh, Berserk is a manga, but that's kind of irrelevant. Um,
In a way, yeah.
but yeah, it's just been a collection of different stories. I can't really pick one individual series or book that has inspired me the most.
I was actually going to guess
I would
Berserk because you said Dark Souls, and that was like the whole inspiration for Dark Souls. So I had a
Yeah,
feeling that Berserk was going to be there for sure.
yeah, but the problem with that, though, is that Dark Souls inspired me more than Berserk, despite the fact that Dark Souls was inspired by Berserk anyways.
Oh yeah, you're
Um,
interacting with it too. So I think that's a
yeah,
a key as well.
and it's Dark Souls 2 in particular that gave me more inspiration than any of the other Dark Souls games.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 2 was my first Souls game, and, uh, typically with most people, the first Souls game that you start with kinda radicalizes you and gives you this, like,
Yeah.
kind of faith towards it, like this die-hard cult
Yep.
mentality towards it.
It very much does.
I'm die-hard with Dark Souls 2.
Right on. Yeah, that's a contentious one because like it's I think it's like 50-50. Like people either really hate it or really love it because it did like a
I
bunch of different
definitely think
stuff
it's
than the
great.
first one. Yeah, I enjoyed two a lot. I liked it. I liked the way they had the you couldn't just sit there and farm monsters all day. They had like a limit kind of. So I think there was two that did that.
Yeah,
My first Souls game though was Neo. So like my first serious one.
Neo.
So that really radicalized me to like Neo a lot more. And then I went and played Dark Souls and the combat was like it's kind of shit compared to Neo. So that part kind of
Wait,
made me
what is the
sad.
series you're talking about?
Neo 1, 2, and 3. They just released 3 not too long ago. But it's
Oh, Nioh,
yes.
Neo.
Or Nio. I call it Nio, but
Oh,
everybody's like, oh no, it's Neo. I
well, when you said Neo, I thought
yeah.
of the guy from fucking Matrix. I
Matrix.
got
Yeah, I
confused.
know. That's why I try to call it Nio, but yeah, it's Neo. And but yeah, that was kind of like my first like real serious one I got into. So that yeah, I understand the radicalization part because I've stuck to that forever. So it's always always been a place in my heart for it.
I will say that, aside from the different books that I've read, one other thing also kind of stuck out at me, and it has to do a lot with Greek mythology. Are you familiar with Hestia?
Yeah,
So Hestia, like Artemis, is one of the goddesses that doesn't have any children, but she also doesn't have very many stories about her either, which is a problem
yeah.
for me because I really loved the Greek myths growing up. I read them as often as I could, and Artemis was my favorite goddess to read about. But Hestia was something I wanted to kind of build up on, and so I decided that I would kind of change a little bit around with Greek mythology and work it into the story of Risen and make a story about her children.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay, so that's kind of the probably the basis of the book then, or is it just hit on like kind of like callbacks to it, or is it a major part?
I, I would say it's a major foundation.
Is it? Oh wow, that's actually interesting. Yeah, because we don't have a whole lot of
Yes.
stories about Hestia, do we? So
Yeah. The only one I can think of is Dunmachi, and that's it.
yeah, yeah. It's funny you bring up
And
Artemis.
even
That was
uh-huh.
actually the Artemis is actually the name I always put on ships whenever I'm playing like games of boats or spaceships. So I always name it Artemis. So that's really interesting that
Well,
you
as
said that.
soon as I got the idea to give Hestia children, I didn't stop there. I gave it to Athena and, well, I mean, in the Rick Riordan series, she kind of has children anyways, but Artemis as well.
Oh, that's really
I did
interesting.
change that too. You know, I will actually take this moment to kind of share the methodical way I decided to go about giving Artemis children without, like, ruining what she is as a character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you familiar with the Greek myth following the hunter Orion and Artemis?
I don't. Maybe I don't. It doesn't ring any bells. I might have heard it though.
Okay, so the hunter Orion is a character who, or a person in the Greek myths that was very familiar with Artemis and good friends with her to the point that he almost made her break her oath of eternal maidenhood and almost became lovers with her until, well, it's kind of up in the air as to what exactly caused it, but he went batshit nuts out of nowhere and died.
Ah, yeah. I think
Some
I.
people
Yeah,
believe that Apollo cursed him with madness for trying to force Artemis
that's
to break her
yeah.
oath.
That's the story I hear. So that's my understanding of it.
I took Orion out of it and put somebody else in named Adrianos. And Adrianos is the name, I think, of like a famous or not a Spartan general, but like a famous Greek soldier. I don't remember which part of Greece it's from, but basically, I
My
took
mod's
that
pretty
name
interested
out of
in
it.
this. Actually, he says she turned Orion into the stars and put him in the sky, which is why we have Orion's belt. So, and
Yes,
that's the
yes.
understanding I know too. Okay.
So I started that whole relationship between Adrianos and Artemis with him getting chased by a bear and falling into a stream only to raise his head and see Artemis like buck ass naked right in front of him and fainting out of fear.
As you do with naked strangers.
Well, the problem is the story of Actaeon and Artemis, and basically what happened with Actaeon in the true Greek myths is that he happened upon her bathing in a stream, and rather than run away as fast as possible to save his own life, he stared at her like a dumbass and then fell into the stream. And he turned her into a deer and had her wolves rip him apart.
Ah. Oh, so what you're doing, correct me if I'm wrong, you're taking the known myths and lore and stories and you're interlacing the happenings with a different like a different take on them, but still with the same details to write your story.
Yes, it's
Okay.
like an alternate history.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's really interesting actually. I'm excited to read it
Yeah.
now.
And what I did differently with the Actaeon thing too is that um, in Risen, Artemis doesn't turn him into a wolf because as soon as he falls into the river, he breaks his neck on a rock and dies instantly before she can even do anything. And one of her handmaidens decided to take that, spin a story around it, and say that
Ah.
Artemis ripped her apart to make every man fearful of seeing her naked.
Oh,
As
so yours is like the true untold story. Okay, that's really interesting. I like that a
it's
lot.
more of just a crotchety old woman looking out for a stupid
Yeah,
goddess and making up a story.
that's
And
awesome.
so when Adrianus sees her naked, he recalls that story that her handmaiden made up and faints on the spot because he doesn't want to die. And that's kind of how they met.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to read it now. Yeah, I had no idea it tied into Greek lore because I didn't want to spoil too much. So I didn't like read into it, but I did, go through some of like the media you had and stuff and, kind of the short excerpts. So I mean, it looked interesting just from that. So, but now I'm really definitely interested. So I'll have to check
Well,
that out.
as long as you're patient, like if you have the patience of a One Piece fan, you'll enjoy it.
Great. Not me then, but no, I as long as there's
No,
not a lot of
I'll elaborate on
flashback.
that. I'll
Okay.
elaborate on that. It's not the pacing. Risen doesn't have the same like really bad pacing as One
Oh,
Piece
thank
does.
God. Okay.
I've been watching the pacing of One Piece and it's atrocious. It's
Yeah.
just long.
Yeah. Oh, it's just long. That's fine.
I've expected this story to last at least 1,000 chapters across 50 volumes.
Oh wow. Yeah, no, I have no problem with stuff that's like stories that are long as it's it paced correctly and where you're getting something out of it each time. I have no problem with that.
Yeah,
So that's pretty cool.
yeah. I've had people describe the pacing as quick and very engaging.
Uh
Quick and engaging, so you don't feel like it's dragging on for so long, but it's really, really dense with information.
gotcha.
Like, there's a lot of information going on. So yes, the pacing is quick, you'll be able to read through it fine. It's just there's a lot of information that you have to process.
That's not a bad thing though, because the way I see it with that, a lot of people be like, "Oh my gosh, I have to pay a lot of attention." The way I see it is that just means that rereading it, you might get more out of it too, and that's actually probably one of
Yeah,
the hardest things to do with a book is getting people to
yeah.
reread it. So yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, even the 2 main people who read along with my stories, um, they have even glossed over some information that resurfaced to help share with them a lot of the bigger picture. Again, they've been following along for the last well, one of them has been following along since 2021, while the other one has kind of recently been following along since 2022, I think.
That sounds like a
So
really powerful thing that you have an ability to get feedback as you're writing the story. Because I feel like most people, when they do like big novels, you don't get that. It's there. So any changes are going to have to be a whole other book. Whereas you have this, basically you're able to morph it as you go in case, you run into potential issues. So I think that's really
oh, yeah.
important too.
I think I've rewritten this story at least 6 or 7 times, and so, if I had the level of experience in writing that I have now back then, I might have been finished with at least over half of this.
Oh wow. Okay.
'Cause I've rewritten so much of the story so many times that, the amount of writing experience and the amount of work I've had done outweighs the actual chapters that I have written right now.
Gotcha.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I feel like
Yep.
as you go forward though, that would only make it get better, and that's a good thing.
Yes. When I
Absolutely.
first started writing back in 2019, it took me 2 weeks just to finish 1 chapter because I was first starting this out, I didn't know, how to really start a story and how to engage it with, all the dialogue, all the, inner monologue, all the descriptions and all the details, all the world building. I didn't know how to really do all of that right, and then as I kept going and kept improving and working on it, the image became a lot clearer, and so every now and then I would not necessarily scrap it, but I would rework through it.
I imagine there's no real like set in stone process for that either. I feel like I can't really speak from experience, but I feel like authors probably each have their own unique way to go about all that because it does sound pretty daunting. But you'd kind of need your own unique way to process everything and put it on paper. So it sounds like you've found yours though.
Yeah, it took a little while to figure it out, though.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is that I think going to college to learn how to write is a waste of time. 'Cause
Yeah.
ultimately, it's like a skill you have to polish over a period of time with repetition. It's something you just improve as you keep doing it over and over again. It's not something you can learn, it's something you have to, work hard at.
Yeah, it's a
It is
very
a talent,
hands-on
but it has
artisanal
to be.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I my writing experience, I actually originally, because when we were all, halfway through high school, we're like, oh shit, what are we gonna do for the rest of our lives? My original thought was first was to become a teacher, and I realized how fucking retarded teachers are and how low they get paid anyways, and I didn't want to be around that. So my second one was to be a writer because I always scored the highest scores in our like writing class because I had to take like the credits for something. So I was like, oh, I'll just do this writing class. And I ended up being really good at it and enjoying it a lot. And I thought, oh man, maybe I could be a writer, and it just didn't work out that way. But I have a like an inkling of like the beginnings, but yeah, I couldn't imagine going to college for it. God, I mean that'd be almost like a debuff, no?
It would be a waste of money.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I'd say the waste of money is probably a bigger debuff than the experience. So
Yeah. I think, trying to be taught how to write a book by a teacher in college would be the worst thing that could have happened to me if I were to become a legitimate writer because they would have either screwed it up so badly or they would have dumbed me down and filled me with so much liberal bullshit
yeah.
that I wouldn't be able to focus on anything other than the fucking brainwashing that they got going on in those places.
Yeah, well, that'd be your fear of anything to go into, and that's a lot of the reason
Yeah.
I went to like a technical college and did like hands-on stuff because imagine going in for being a lawyer and they're going to teach you a bunch of bullshit, and then you get into the real world and turns out you're garbage, and and then you have to work up an even bigger ladder than what you thought you started with. So yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely feel
that's
that.
that's why I went straight into the workforce after high school. It's just
Yeah,
I figured if I was gonna do if I was gonna follow my dream of writing books, I would have to do it with the free time that I have off of work. I couldn't just go to school and learn how to do it and then not do it right.
yeah, I agree. Yeah,
So,
that's probably the smartest thing that you could have done too. So I'm glad you broke the conditioning on that because I feel like a lot of people don't. It's sad.
yeah, well, I guess it worked out a little bit.
Yeah, why not have a little optimism, Now on all that stuff, what originally got me to like kind of put my eyes on you a bit was some of your posts on X are fucking great and they're based. So, and you're not afraid to speak your mind. I think that's, what everybody should be doing. Shame to the people who play to a crowd just for good boy points. But I noticed you posting stuff and a lot of stuff I agreed with as well, just on the state of the world and the liberal bullshittery that we've been dealing with for. It feels like the dawn of time, but I feel like it's only really gotten bad since about probably what, the mid 2000s, I think, is when it really like went to overdrive. And I think it's
Oh
starting to
yeah,
burn
probably.
itself out, but I don't know. But yeah, I saw on there that, and then I noticed, oh, you're an author, and I was like, oh wow, and a political commentator, which I could definitely see the political comments. So, but yeah, that was my original thing there, and so because of that, I'm really wondering what, if any, because I know we talked about it before the interview started, but I was wondering if you did run into any um, opposition or like aggression or singling out because of your opinions in the novel writing world, like with artists or
Oh,
Amazon or anything like that.
I've never run into opposition with other writers before based on my politics because I don't really interact with writers
I feel like they
much
don't.
on
Yeah,
Twitter, partly because some of the claimed writers are hacks and idiots.
yeah,
But I have lost a couple of commissioner, not not clients. I'm the client, but a couple of artists who have done work for me that I've not been able to contact anymore. I have lost a couple of them, but I've worked with like 2 dozen artists in the last 5 years. Losing 2 or 3 did not matter to me.
yeah. I feel like all the really good artists too, at least the ones like I've worked with, don't give a fuck about politics or what you say. They just, they're there for business, and I think those are the very successful ones in the end of it.
Yeah, it
So
kinda just depends. Sometimes you'll find an artist who is, like, really adamant about their politics and their stance on things,
yeah,
and then you'll find an artist who, while they do have opposing politics, they worship the almighty dollar.
yeah, the color of
So, it
green,
doesn't
yes.
matter.
Well, and I feel like that's
But
more mature than anything because they understand the most important thing, which it is when you're in the business world. So I think that's a level of maturity in a way.
yeah.
So that
So
so
I don't know if it'd be appropriate to call them, like, artist mercenaries or whatever, but those kinds of people are those are the
yeah,
kinds of people you wanna work with, artist mercenaries.
yeah, yeah. The
Even though they
the
might have
the
their own
freelance
thoughts
with
and
no
feelings about certain things, they
yeah
don't care.
the freelance with no honor code. Yeah, so
That's a good label, I like that.
the privateers. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, and the reason I brought up the artists and stuff is because I feel like a lot of the people who follow me and follow you, although I can't really speak for you because you have a lot of followers. You're a pretty popular guy, so definitely more popular than me. For now, I'll catch you. But I feel like a lot of the people that, at least that we interact with or the space we're in, are extremely pro like AI and get in fights with people literally every 5 minutes. It feels like, and
Right.
I'm in the sense that I use AI quite a bit. However, I also use a lot of artists too. Like I'm 50-50. I use both, because I think they're both important and usable. What's your take on it though, as far as kind of like how the community's either aggressively one way or the other?
I am incredibly risk averse in the sense that I don't want to be involved with AI as much as I can help it because of the fact that I see the enormous risks that come with embracing and abusing AI to
Uh-huh.
the point that it doesn't make, you know, artists obsolete,
Yeah,
but it does kind of step on their toes in a matter
sure.
of speaking. Like, it just kind of takes a big fat shit on them and walks off doing their own thing, and then they're left to clean up the mess.
Yeah. Well, I
It's
feel
I
any
don't like
new
dealing with it.
technology kind of does that too. I mean, I think the biggest argument going on right now is the whole, when cars made, horse carriages obsolete. I mean, and it's very, adjacent to what's going on here. And my take on it, which I've brought up in other interviews too, is when AI came out, everybody was like, oh, that's kind of neat. It's whatever, and it was only better than like 1% of all the artists. But I'd say now it's probably better than about 60% of them. And I think that's where all the hate and like, validity is coming from, is the fact that it caught up so fast. And I don't think it'll ever replace all the artists. I don't think a lot of the extreme pro AI even believe that. I think it'll just eliminate a lot of like honestly just the shitty artists that we have out there, that are
Yeah.
charging big bucks for practically nothing, not sticking to schedules and stuff. And I think that's where all the hate is coming from. But what do you think on that? Do you think that's true, or do you think there's more to it?
I think it's partially true. I know that there's a lot of AIs that kind of self-cannibalize because they are end up getting fed their own data,
Yeah.
and it screws up some of their works, but I do think that it does kind of cull the weak in a matter of speaking.
Mhm.
It does kinda get rid of a lot of the shittier artists who claim that they're good, but they're kind of just mediocre and they're, holding on to scraps. I would not say that of the people that I work with though, because I only work with good artists. I started out with some kind of cheap, shitty artists that would have been replaced by AI, but I work with really good people, and
Yeah.
I would not risk putting any of their work into AI because I respect them immensely.
Oh, absolutely. And that's how I feel too. Like as much AI as I use, I'm very respectable towards it because I still believe there's like a really powerful place for, human made art. I mean, that's we're the ones who invented it, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
So, and so I've always been like middle ground with it where, you can have both. It just I get a lot of hate, I feel, from both sides. I more so from the anti side. The AI side, not so much. They're usually pretty
right.
agreeable. But yeah, I feel every time it's like, well, why can't you have both? And it's like they'll read that and they'll just be like, oh, I'm gonna just block you. It's like, oh, just answer my question, like, and I never get that. So that's a fun thing that happens to me at least. But I feel like, yeah, there's definitely worth out of both of them. Um,
I'll share with you 2 points. One that would make me support AI more, and one point of why I don't support it.
sure,
And I'll go with the latter first. So one of the big reasons that I don't like AI at all in everyday life is that it makes education pathetic in the sense that students abuse AI because it's like a calculator. It doesn't.
yeah,
It's worse than a calculator. A
yeah,
calculator is an okay tool to use every now and then, but using it to solve every question you have is a problem because it doesn't allow you to be able to process the information in your head organically. It just gives you the answer. If you cannot formulate an answer through your own thoughts and calculations, you're not learning anything. So it's the same process with AI, and AI is worse than a calculator because you can put anything into AI and get an answer back, no
yeah,
matter what it is. So they're just receiving the answers without getting any kind of organic thinking out of it, and
yeah.
it oversimplifies education.
I couldn't agree with you more. So I think that's probably the worst part of AI coming in is because that was like kind of the first usage of it. Heavy usage was just people just getting papers wrote and like
Used to
questions done and
documentation.
not learning the stuff just to get through it. Yeah, the laziness came
Yeah.
first. As is
Yeah.
pretty common with
You
humanity.
know what's really weird? I've had people try and slander me, say that I use AI with my writing. I would not be caught dead abusing AI or using it to any degree to write a book, because that would be bullshit.
Yeah, I feel like well, and I feel like it would be more of a pain in the ass because then you'd have to go in and
But
edit so much stuff with it because at the end of the day it's a tool. So like,
yeah,
answering questions on a math quiz or whatever, like, yeah, that's it's pretty shitty that it does that, but when you move into
it's
like
already tedious
it
editing what
is.
I already have right now.
Yeah.
It'd
Yeah,
be
oh, and
even
then
worse if I had to do with AI.
it would absolutely, yeah, and just from personal experience, it would be because like I just use it as like supplementary because I just see it as a tool. At the end of the day, I don't see it as a shortcut or anything like that. It just for me, it's a tool, and it still takes like I can't just type something in and it happen. It takes a quite a bit of like constructive writing skills actually to get it to do exactly what you want and not fuck up completely.
Right.
I feel like it's getting to the point now where you don't have to be as versed with that, but I feel like that's still like a definite skill with it. But as far as like the writing stuff, yeah, I mean you're better off just writing it on your own. I mean, that's not even a strong point of AI. So the fact they're even
Yeah.
using it is ridiculous, or even accusing. But the accusing thing's funny because that is the I think the saddest part of it all is some of these people are so ravenous about it that they don't even understand how it works or how it's used. And so they'll go after literally anybody for no reason or no evidence.
Yeah.
And then
Pretty much.
it hits people like you that are actually artists and actually, skilled at what they do, or masters of the pen, and they're trying to, write you off, on someone who in a way kind of supports what they feel. And
I
I
have
think
a
it's
guy who's
sad.
been stalking me for 3 years who accused me of using AI just because they saw minor grammatical errors in my work and went with that. Yeah.
Maybe they think you're cute.
A lot of people seem to think that maybe they just have a crush on me, but here's the problem, I'm not gay.
Ah, well, sad for him.
Apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
Oh,
I've gotten a few death threats in my day, so I definitely understand the type. They just need to take their meds. So that's it.
the for the positive supporting part, if I were to support AI in regards to like art, it would have to reach an extremely experimental technological point for this to work. But and it would also involve brain chips actually too.
Oh wow.
You familiar with Sword Art Online
Yeah. Oh yeah.
with the whole the
Yeah.
headset with
Full
that links to
dive.
your
Yeah.
brain?
Yeah. I've been wanting full dive
Yeah.
for fucking 2 decades, brother. Like, yeah.
So I have that in mind. If you had a headset or something that could scan the patterns in your brain that respond to like imaginative thinking, and you have an AI read those signals and interpret them for you, instead of having the AI just generate based off of prompts,
Yeah.
that's something I would support. If an AI takes the signals in your brain that respond to imaginative thinking and copies those signals onto, like your drawing tablet, that is something that I would like to see
Yeah. It's like a drawing.
because
It's like a drawing
it's
tablet, but
not
in your brain.
generating
So
something that's trained by somebody else's artwork. It's trained based off of your thoughts. So you still have to train it by by lines. Like, for example, I don't think everybody's neural pathways are built the same. They're
yeah.
probably not. So you'd have to train the AI to respond to your brain very specifically. Not everybody would be the same. So there's no argument to be made of it training off of somebody else's art if it's only responding to neural pathways.
I think that's a really
That is the
interesting
only
idea.
way
I
I would
like that a
support
lot.
AI.
Yeah. And that could be really powerful with like, the medical field and lots of things actually. That'd be really impressive.
It's used in the medical field.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I've noticed like, uh, since they've just kind of been dabbling with it just on the back end, industrial scale, not so much the prompt stuff that we get, but just on the
Right.
industrial like scale, like I've seen huge, like leaps and bounds in technology for like, deaf people, and because they use AI to train the sound waves so that it hits their ear specifically. And then
I've
I've
heard about that,
yeah,
yeah.
and I've seen some, yeah, because they train those on AI. If you didn't know that, they do the implants,
Alright.
and then what they do is they read their brains, not the senders, but like the receivers on how they receive things. And what they do is they train it to send those signals of sound, that the ear would normally send it to other parts of the brain, but that would still perceive it as sound. Is basically what they've done with it.
They
And
could
so,
probably still do that even if you don't have, a proper eardrum or the
yeah,
hairs that receive the vibrations anymore.
exactly.
You just get it based off of electrical signals in the brain.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard about that. That's
Yeah,
pretty great.
absolutely. Yeah, and they still perceive the sound as happening, even though they're not, in essence, chemically hearing it. And so I think that technology is really great, and they're starting to do that for eyes too. I think in the next
Yeah,
like 5 or 10 years, we're going to have like, cybernetic eyes and stuff that will do
yeah,
similar.
it's, AP77.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're getting all cyberpunk now. So
Yeah. I know a lot of people are like really hesitant towards the idea of brain chip technology, and I understand the reason behind that because brain chip technology can absolutely be abused for the most tyrannical, horrific bullshit you could think of.
Yeah.
But I'm also fascinated with the idea of VR via, the whole Sword Art Online thing. I think that would be like the only reason you could actually invest any kind of time and innovation into is for that. Otherwise, kill it. Kill the project for you
Yeah.
know, all I'm concerned about.
Well, I feel like a lot of it's just it's in its infancy too. So I think that's where a lot of like
Oh, it is.
the bad stuff is coming from. Is just like because if you think about it, like the second we had LLMs, which is the text, basically what they use to cheat on tests is considered an LLM. The second we got those
Oh,
out, that was the first thing they did with it. They were just cheating on tests and yeah, and writing shit and like, oh, write this for me because my fingers hurt. And that was like the first usage of it, which is I'd say it's not shocking just because of how humans are. We're naturally lazy, I think, and that's how we invent stuff. That's how we innovate is by being lazy in a way. But I feel like the next step, whenever we do hit that, I think will probably be a lot less negative. So, because
I
at the end
think
of the
the biggest
day,
hurdle that people would have to get over in regards to brain chip technology would be the fact that as they currently operate, brain chips have to be surgically inserted and you cannot physically remove them of your own volition. You'd have to get them surgically removed. The
yeah.
biggest problem with that is that they would have to find a way to implant a port, not the chip itself, but a port that connects to a chip externally of your head. Because if you cannot physically remove something that you're not trustworthy of, you're not gonna win over any kind of public support. You'd have to have a port of some sort installed into your head that transfers the processes and the information coming from the chip into the brain.
Well, and
Otherwise, I don't think anybody would
I
like
feel
that.
like it follows the same or it's going to rather follow the same kind of path that like vaccines took because before because I mean think of the first vaccine or the first time they ever thought about a vaccine, right? It's just like I'm going to put this liquid into a vial with a needle and then I'm going to puncture you with it and then put this fluid into your body and it's going to make you better. Think of like the first time they ever even imagined that, however many years ago. So and I'm sure there was similar contention with that too, and granted,
Yeah.
that I'm not pro vaccine or anything like that, but at the end of the day, like there has been an advance in medical science. I wouldn't say all of the vaccines are good, but I'd say there is a number of them that are, have benefited humanity, that
Dude, I
technology.
had to be bribed into taking my vaccines when I was working.
Yeah. I didn't take mine. So I never got the COVID vaccine. So,
I
but,
wish I didn't have to, but I needed the
yeah.
time off at the time. They were offering,
Oh,
40 hours of unpaid time off.
oh, it's badass.
Uh, yeah, when I was working at Amazon, they offered that much for, the 2 shots, and I only took the 2. I didn't take any of the boosters.
Yeah.
When I took the first shot, it was one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life. The reaction was awful. I had cold sweats, fever, shakes, muscle pains, headache, extreme delirium to the point that I forgot my own name. It was awful.
Yeah. I've heard similar situations with that. When I used to deliver during 2020, I delivered water. The 5 gallon jugs that go on the like water dispensers. I used to deliver
Like the
those.
Culligan jars?
I was a Culligan guy. Yeah, actually,
Oh,
yeah, I was a Culligan guy, and I'd go do like water filters and stuff like that. But I used to deliver those, and it was during that time. And there was a couple times where I'd go and call them like, "Hey, I'm on my way," and they're like, "Oh, okay, we're home. We just got our COVID vaccines." It was like, "All right, well, I'll just see you next week then," and I wouldn't even go just because. One time I did go where someone just had a vaccine. I go in and they're just like practically like like vomiting on themselves, try and I
damn.
didn't even want to be there. I didn't want to be involved with that. I didn't want to be around it. I was like, oh my God, this is awful. So, but yeah, I got away with not having to vaccinate being in the state I was in, fortunately.
And
But
I
yeah, I
wish I
definitely
could
saw it.
investigate regardless of the bribe.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, it's, many such cases. A lot of people. I'm just glad the information came out on it finally, and we're not all just, a bunch of like crackpot retards that, oh, yeah, okay, buddy. Yeah, it's so bad. And they actually investigated it, which I'm glad. That's ongoing currently. I don't know if
Are
you've.
they still releasing booster shots of that COVID shot right now?
Um, I don't think so. Maybe they are. All I know is that it's currently in the courts for all of the illegal shit they were doing with like the gain of function. And a lot of information's already come out that how bad it is. And I feel like the public sentiment is that nobody wants it anymore. And the ones that do already have like 10 boosters or whatever. So I think the crowds are
Those,
very separated.
shots, those COVID shots were, like, the only shots that I've had in, like, the last 10 years. Otherwise, I haven't taken any kind of medical shot since then because
Yeah.
I don't trust pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. And that definitely did like a lot of damage for them too. Because I feel like when you're first born, the vaccines they give you there, because I have a daughter, so I got to go through that whole
Oh,
experience.
nice.
I'd say because when you're born, I think in the first like I think it was like a month or two. I think it's at like 2 months. You go to the doctor and they give these infants like it's got to be like 14 shots, right? And so like
Oh
they were
my
like, "Oh
god.
yeah, we got to do all these shots." And I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like it looked like it looked like a fucking torture lab. But I actually went through and researched each one, because it was at the time where I was really iffy on such things, and a lot of the stuff was actually not bad though. Like we actually have really good vaccine technology, for newborns and that protect us from stuff like chicken pox, for example. Like I had chicken
Right.
pox when I was young.
So did I.
Yeah, and so like have we had chicken pox since? Really? Not really. It's not even a big thing anymore. Like it's, you hear about it once in a blue moon. But it used to be pretty
Yeah, I don't
common.
even care about that either. That's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. So, and that's what the vaccines really, address there. And then another big one was, where your brain runs out of water or something. Oh, I forget what it's called now. It gives you like constant
I've never heard of that.
headaches. I forget what it's called, but it's some disease you get where the water on your brain like evaporates or you don't have as much of it. Meningitis. That's what I'm thinking of. And
Oh,
meningitis used to be huge, right? And a lot of people used to get it where it would basically your brain wouldn't have enough water and you'd have literally migraines forever, just your entire life. They would never go away. There was no medication
man,
for it,
that would
there's no way to
suck.
fix it. And so one of the vaccines was the meningitis one, which apparently I got too. And so meningitis pretty much has disappeared. And a lot of these have disappeared. So there's good it's done, but it all it takes is one bad one to, throw it off. But at the same
Yeah,
time,
I'm
like
on the fence in that regard
yeah,
because
absolutely. Yeah.
I've seen parents like say that they want their child to be all natural. They don't want any kind of shots. And a part of me wants to agree with that sentiment because of the amount of damage that has been done by pharmaceutical companies with all of these harmful shots that are
Yeah.
experimental and do a lot of damage to people's immune systems or, flat out kill them. But at the same time, some of those shots have actually prevented some of the worst shit from happening.
I
So
think
it's like I'm on the fence. I see both sides of the argument and why they're good or bad,
I'm on the
but
fence too, and I think the reason we're both on the fence is because both sides are guilty of muddying the water. I think the severe, always take the vaccine people, have really really, screwed the pooch, especially with the COVID vaccine stuff. And then I feel like also the people who are just anti-vax all the time forever also are, being retarded with it. So, and I feel like that's why I brought this up is because I feel like that's a lot of correlation to that brain technology you talked about with implants. I feel like that's going to happen there. And I feel like that's also happening with AI too. You have a severe lean to the one side or the other, and then everybody in the middle is kind of metaphorically stuck on the fence and
I
the
do
target of both
genuinely
sides.
think that the only way that companies would ever be able to sell brain chips is if they had a port which you connect to the chip itself
Right.
and not have it directly implanted into the brain because a lot of people would be fearful of something that is connected inside of your head that you can't physically remove yourself or have family remove if, a malfunction happens. Having a port and then a receiver that connects to the port makes sense for somebody who wants like a little bit of insurance in case they want to turn it off
Yeah.
and they can't remove it. That's the only way I could ever see that working.
I mean, on one end, it'd have to be like if they wanted it to be as prominent as it could be, they'd have to like medically mandate it almost. From
Yeah.
probably not from birth, but probably a certain age to where it would not affect growth or anything like that. Because the
I don't
skull,
think you could feasibly have it from birth with how small
no,
a
absolutely not.
baby's brain would be.
Well, and their skull too
It
is
would be
still like mush. You like your skull doesn't even fully harden till you're I think like 6 or like 8 or something like that. So yeah,
yeah, that sounds
it'd
about
have
right.
to be like a certain age that you do it from. But yeah, I don't see that either. Unless in the future maybe they'll invent something that like does like Wi-Fi but with our brain. That'd be interesting.
I am wondering though how they would be able to sustain that in the sense that what kind of materials would they have to use to be able to make a brain chip last a lifetime?
It'd have to be
Because
titanium
we're like
and glass.
70% titanium rusts. We're 70% water. That stuff could rust inside the body.
Oh, titanium rust? I thought it just gets a coating.
I think titanium rusts. I might be wrong about that, but I've heard examples of it happening. I'd have to
I was
check it.
under the assumption it's like aluminum where it gets the coating, which is technically a
Aluminum would
rust,
be
but
that would be rust resistant, yeah, but I think titanium might be different.
yeah, I don't remember. But it'd have to be something like that, and then or glass. The glass is the only other thing I could think, but that'd be spooky having glass in your head.
Yeah, or some kind of, not silicone, but like ceramic.
Yeah, ceramic or just a
I
advanced
have a
plastic.
ceramic tooth. One of my incisors is ceramic
Oh yeah,
because I dropped my phone and chipped it in half.
yeah. I've had extensive dental work, so all my teeth are. What's the fake diamond?
Fake carbon?
No, well, that's real diamond, but no, the fake ones. What are the zirconium? So a bunch of my teeth are
Oh,
zirconium because they what they were trying to do is develop a new body armor for the military, and it didn't work because it was too heavy. But they found out if they take cubic zirconium, which they used to make fake diamonds, and they cook them in an oven, they become the same toughness and color as teeth. So that's what they started doing that, and they like 3D printed all my teeth and then just like put them on. So that's
when you
majority of
said
my teeth.
fake diamonds, I thought of the kind of diamonds that, factories make
Oh
rather than
yeah,
ones that rely on child labor.
yeah, right, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's all just carbon
I'm
dust in
sure.
the end. Yeah, cubic zirconium. I forget what it is exactly, but yeah, they do that for teeth. But that could be something too. Just like a kind of like a material like that. A non rusting, non material that breaks down like very either extremely slowly or not at all. Uh,
Well, if it breaks down extremely slowly, that would allow for it to, decompose with the body after it's dead.
it would.
So that would be a pretty good material to use if it breaks down, like, so slowly over that period of time.
Well, yeah, then you'd have to balance it because yeah, what if they outlive the implant and have to get it again? Also, you could do like one that's biodegradable, and you just
Right,
put a new one in
that's
every so
kinda what I meant
often.
at the time.
Yeah, kind of like they have this new biodegradable eye contacts that they've been like testing. I don't think they're out yet, but you basically put them in your eye, and by
Oh.
the end of the day, they dissolve into just basically.
Oh, no, that's bad. That's bad because, people reuse contacts, and contacts are already expensive. If they're biodegradable and they dissolve at the end of the day, that's just I mean, that's good for the market, but,
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of eh, I
Yeah,
don't
but
know about
it
that.
was kind of interesting. Well, because they have like the daily lenses you can order now, for contacts. And so do cobalt for the memes. Oh god. Get out of here, Rubus. I'm gonna put
I
cobalt in
think
my
I'll
head.
stick with my glasses.
Yeah. Yeah, I have glasses too. I'm actually really planning to get eye surgery done just because I'm sick of glasses. I've had it my whole life. So I'll take one for the
I
team.
don't mind glasses. I think they would well, I don't wanna say they make me look sexy, but they don't make me look ugly either.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of on the. I'm just sick of them. I'm just sick of having them on my face. And
I have a
I've
permanent indentation on my nose from wearing them all the time.
I not only have a permanent indentation on my nose has been broken about 30 times. So the rest of my nose is all fucked
Damn.
up too. Yeah. So it doesn't help, you know. But yeah, I was definitely planning to do that. And because they have a couple different ways to do it now. And it's been out for a while now. So it's, you know, not as spooky, I guess. So I don't know. I
Oh,
was going to look into that. But that's kind of like similar to, you know, I mean, any body modification medically, you know,
I
is going
want
to
to
be
break
spooky.
off from this conversation for a bit because we
Yeah,
got
you're
we
good.
got
Yeah,
really
we
really
did.
off topic
We super
with the
did.
AI stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But I'll actually bring this up myself. In regards to like a lot of the bits and pieces in the story that are like direct references, every now and then you will see a bunch of references to either certain character names, certain moments in the story that are related to like other media. And I do that a lot because I want to express my appreciation and my love for other forms of media that I've read, watched, or interacted with. But I'm also very careful and meticulous about the process of including those references because I don't want to plagiarize anybody.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example right now. So, in Dark Souls 2, the final boss of the game is Nishandra.
Uh-huh.
The boss itself is pretty disappointing, but I mean, the lore is all right. I took the name Nishandra and applied it to a character of my own, and I've reworked the entire character to be completely different. Aside from like the blonde hair and some of the death abilities, like the character herself is very different in terms of like motivations and all of that. But the point is, the name remains, and the name is the important callback because I wanted to kind of litter some Dark Souls 2 specific references into the story because it's my favorite one of the three. For another example would be Rame. Do you know who Rame is?
Raimi?
Maybe. I think I've always pronounced it as Rame.
I know Raimi. I don't know if we're talking about the same one. In Dark Souls, right?
Yes, Dark Souls 2, the Fume Knight.
The Fume Knight, yeah. I always heard it as Raimi.
Right. I applied that name to somebody who's very, very different and a dragon. Kind of littered these references all over the place. And if you can find them and you point them out to me and if you enjoy them, let me know.
I'm a huge fan of Easter eggs because to me that's like the ultimate like
Easter
sign.
eggs. That's
Yeah,
a better way to describe it.
yeah. To me an Easter egg in any game or anything to me is like the best thing ever because that's like the ultimate calling card for me that shows that somebody has a passion for something. Like if you're willing to put in Easter eggs of something and show like, you know, homage to something and you know, inspiration to something, I think that's great. That's my favorite thing in the world actually.
There's a lot of those in the story. In fact, I'll actually name one right now that's probably going to be the most glaring one that I can think of, and it's the main character's name, Marcus Wright.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what that's from?
um uh, no, but his name sounds familiar. Well, let me see if I can beat you at
It's
Google. I'm getting Terminator stuff.
Yeah, that's it. The in Terminator Salvation, which is my personal favorite among the series, um, one of the characters is Marcus Wright, what was it, a death row inmate who donated his body to science and got turned into a Terminator human hybrid, which
Oh,
I thought was pretty cool at the time when it came out. And I took the name from that and applied it to the main character of the story. So that's one of the callbacks. The other one is Marcus's little sister Talia, which is also a reference to the Percy Jackson series, which is Talia Grace, but in this situation, it's Talia Wright.
yeah.
So,
To keep last names similar. So, I mean, Terminator. I'm not too much on. I saw a few of the movies, but I never got like into the newer movies. I just saw like the original couple. So, but that's really
the
interesting.
the
So,
only good Terminator movies are 1, 2, and 4. The 3rd one was kinda shit.
Yeah.
Everything after 4 was terrible.
Yeah, 1 and 2 I watched a ton of, but as far as, like, the more newer ones, I mean, even 3, I don't think I really even watched a lot of them, to be fair.
3 was not great at all, in my opinion. I thought it was, like, too cheesy, it was too bland. It lacked a lot of the character. 4 was just outright different in the sense that you're not, doing this whole escapist, story of escaping the future. No, you're in the future, you're fighting in the war, and it's gritty and bloody and dark and violent, and it's very different from how like kind of the fish out of water scenario where in the first two movies you have that fish out of water, Terminator coming in from the future into the past in a world that doesn't exist anymore to kill the enemy of their regime.
Yeah.
But in the fourth one you have the regime right in front of you and you're fighting against it, and like so many people are dead. That's what kind of appealed to me at the time. It has this, really dark, almost hopeless atmosphere to it.
I feel like they could have done so much more with it too. Oh, by the way, Runa, sorry, you're thinking of Marcus Phoenix. So, because he said Gears of War. So, I don't know. The Terminator series, like, it's so cool, and like, it has so many things that pull reference from it too. And I just feel like they really, like, with at least a few of the movies, really just did a big disservice to the franchise. So that's how I
I
see it,
think
though.
that if they had ended things off with Terminator Salvation and they had maybe done some things different with the 3rd one, it would have been a perfect series in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like, there wouldn't be any, like, legitimate issues with it because the first 2 movies are great. They're fantastic hallmarks of American culture for
yeah.
sure. The 3rd one is really I mean, I think it's really, really bad in its execution. The ideas behind it are good, but the execution was terrible. The 4th one is the perfect ending to it, in my opinion, because it shows that the fate was inescapable, but there's still hope because humanity is fighting on regardless.
I feel like
And
it
then you
had
get
the
to
same.
Genesis and it shits all over all of it.
Yeah, I feel like I had the same problems that like the Star Wars franchise had, because the Star Wars franchise had similar where the beginning was really cool, and then like the later movies just really kind of nuked the whole series. So in
The
a
only
way,
good thing coming out of Star Wars these days are the Clone Wars adjacent TV shows, in
and
my
the
opinion.
and the new Pod Racer game that looks sick as fuck. I'm getting it, so that game
I
looks
haven't
great.
played that, or I don't think I'll get that because I don't like the games either. The
Yeah,
only good Star Wars game that I ever played was The Force Unleashed.
yeah, that was a great game. Knights of the Old Republic was a favorite of mine back in the day, but I apparently we're getting a new one in like I don't know 8 or 9 years or some bullshit. So they said, but the
Whenever they
new
get around to it.
I know the new Pod Racer game looks really good though, and it's made by the people who made Burnout. If you remember those games, so
Oh, I remember playing Burnout
yeah,
Paradise, on the PS3, crashing my car and
yep,
killing, like, 30 people.
yep, yeah, yeah. So there, it's the same. Yeah, it's the exact same people. So it's like the driving is going to be good. It looks really good, and
That's cool.
there's no like gay faggot bullshit in it. So it's like kind of a win-win-win going on. So we'll have to see when it comes out. That's like the first Star Wars game that's actually looked like impressive in the last, I don't know, 5 years, I think.
If I were to apply any, like, voice to the characters, like, for example, Marcus Wright,
Uh-huh.
if I were to give him a voice for you to kind of imagine what he sounds like and what his demeanor is, I would say Sam Witwer's Starkiller would
Oh
be,
yeah.
like, the voice for him. Like, if you wanna visualize how Marcus Wright sounds and what he acts like, it's Starkiller.
Well, that brings up an interesting thing, because I what I really want to know is like what's your future plans with this? Like, are you going to keep writing books? Are you going to go into maybe more graphical novels, or are you maybe going to, budget permitting, get into maybe like animation?
I have an animation, but it's not something I can share with the public.
Yeah, that's fair.
I I mean, if I wanted like, if I had the money and I had the means of doing it, I would hire animators to make trailers for the book. But finding affordable animators with the kind of quality that I would need for it to actually be
Oh yeah,
well
big
executed
bucks.
is really difficult.
Yeah,
I'll kind of share what plans I have for the series as a whole. I don't plan on getting into graphic novels unless I found an actual artist, and even then, I would probably only adapt small stories because
yeah, that's
the
fair.
main story of Risen is too big, it would take too damn long,
Yeah, yeah, I could see that.
which is why I haven't bothered trying to improve my own art style or my own artistic ability when it comes to drawing because, 1, I focused way too damn much on improving my writing that my artistic ability in drawing regressed so badly that it's just a shadow of his former self. I used to be really good at drawing, but now I'm shit and I can't seem to fix it. I don't
Yeah,
have the patience that I have for writing the same way I used to when I was drawing. I used to draw all the time when I was a kid.
it's definitely a talent you have
So
to like keep at too. I mean, writing too, you know. So it's that's definitely
yeah,
hard to balance. I assume. I was
I
always a shit
can't take a
artist, so
break writing because if I do, I suffer for it.
yeah,
If
absolutely.
I take like a week or 2 weeks off from writing, I lose the motivation for the next 3 weeks until I build it back up.
Yeah, that's
And then I
awful.
have to just keep on doing it all the time or I'm not gonna be able to do it again. I don't take breaks from writing at all.
Yeah, yeah, and it
And
keeps you
so
sharp. So and then you know
oh,
you're able to adapt to like new ideas in your head a lot faster as well.
yeah, absolutely. Um, I have, I think, 3 current side story I no, well, I guess it is 3 now because I just finished one. 4 side story ideas, in the works. One of them I already started writing, and that will probably end up being 8 volumes long, but I have 2 others aside from that, that I have kind of workshopped off, but the main series has already have I already have all 1,000 chapters mapped out. And when I say map it out is I have a chart that I write, uh, describing the events for every singular chapter in the future
Oh, like a
up to
timeline.
1,000. Yeah, like a timeline. I have all 1,000 of the chapters mapped out with very specific events that coincide with those, and I kind of just follow that map as I go along, and sometimes, every now and then, I'll merge chapters together and then make a new one to fit more stuff in that I couldn't before.
Yeah, I mean that's a great way to do it with a timeline. That's probably what
Yeah,
I would do to be honest. So because I'm huge into like statistics and graphing and like timeline stuff. So whenever I work
yeah.
on anything, so it just helps me think.
I I did that with the main series, and I also did that with a series that I just finished writing or not a series, but one of the side stories that I just finished writing very, very recently, like, within the last couple of days.
No, really.
Yeah, and this one was 40 chapters long, and I could have split it up into 2 volumes, but I don't wanna pay for another cover, and it would just be tedious, so I'm just gonna keep it as one singular book. It's kind of a what if scenario, but it's also canonical at the same time with the main events of the story,
That's pretty cool.
is as it's part of a future aspect of the story.
Yeah, because it's always tough touching on like alternatives and like branching, and I feel like a lot of stories get ruined by that sometimes too, especially in like anime and manga and like Japanese media. Really, you have
Yeah.
some where they follow this cool story, everybody loved it, it's good to go, and then they're like, well, what if this happened? And I feel like I've seen a lot of failures in that, so that must be really tough to balance.
This side story is the only single example of an alternate timeline being a part of the story, and I made it canonical because of the events that happen in the future. And you could think of this alternate timeline almost like a backup plan for the main villain.
Oh, okay.
as
That's
in
really cool. I
as in
like
he
that.
created this alternate timeline and plucked 2 of the characters from that timeline and uses them as backup plans in case, the pawns in the main story don't operate the way that he wanted them to.
Ah, that's really cool.
So it's
That's a good way to go about
so
it too.
creating
Because I feel
yeah.
like most alternate side stories or this or that is just, a lot of times it just feels like a pander to just have more content made. But it sounds like you thought out a really interesting way to do it. So I'm actually pretty interested in that. That's really cool.
The whole premise of this, side story was, what if Marcus's little sister died at birth? How he would, live out his life differently if he
Oh,
didn't have that kind of moral center. And strangely enough, in the main story, Marcus's little sister Talia sort of serves as like a moral center to try and keep him, not nearly as vicious, but at the same time, it also kind of contradicts that. Because if I'm sure you could probably imagine somebody who has family, if they get threatened, makes somebody that's protecting their family a lot more feral and barbaric,
oh, for sure.
right? So having that kind of moral center is both a good and bad thing. It's good because it keeps the character honest and trying to be moral for the sake of another person, but it's bad if that character is threatened and the main character has to become like way more cruel and vicious.
Yeah.
In this side story, there is no moral center, and he just does all of this anyways, but he doesn't adopt all of the more cruel aspect of things
Yeah, he's
because he doesn't
unchained.
have anybody to lose.
Yeah, he's unchained. Yeah, that part sounds
He's
really cool.
unchained and doesn't have anyone to lose, so there's no risk of him becoming more feral than he already is.
I mean, you're basically doing like kind of like what video games do. It's like, like, oh, well, this time I'm gonna be a warrior. No, this time I'm gonna be a thief, kind of type shit there. So it's takes a new path, but through the same story, like a different view.
Yeah,
That's a cool way to
yeah.
do it. I like that.
A lot of the information that's tied into the side story is also explored in the main story, but in a different way.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be able to publish that side story until after I get a future arc. Um, it's the next major arc. I have 2 smaller arcs to finish first before I can even start writing it. But I wasn't even supposed to work on World Conqueror until after Nightmares was finished, and Nightmares is the next major arc after Contest of Champions, which is the one that I finished in the main story.
Do
So
you plan to keep I mean, how long does each arc kind of take you currently? Like what's kind of like a time frame between arcs?
it, it depends because the first main arc is 40 chapters long,
Right.
and that's the Scorching Dragon arc. The the arc that's directly after that one is Contest of Champions, and that one is 160 chapters long.
Oh wow.
Yes, because it's a tournament arc, but at the same time, it's also exploring a lot of information and introducing a lot of world building from other parts of the world and other characters, and building up a lot of futures events. And then after that, I have 2 character focused arcs, and then a slice of life arc.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you need that.
Kind of. It's more of character development and exploring a lot more of Marcus's past, but it is also kind of through the lens of a slice of life high school romance arc.
Well, that would be cool
It
too. I mean,
I
gives a different perspective on
mm,
everything.
yeah. When I read Mushoku Tensei and I read a bit about Rudius getting into school and how uh, the setting was very different within that fantastical setting in general, I thought, you know what, I want to try that, and I did, and I didn't finish writing it. I
Oh,
actually did start writing Nightmares arc back in 2023, but I stopped and I started reworking the entire series from the ground up.
Well, I mean,
So
even
I haven't
even
worked on it in a while.
even with the complete turnaround, though, I feel like it sounds like you have, especially now, enough ability that you could really start pumping and moving forward with this stuff. It looks sounds like you have a really good game plan for it as well.
Yeah. Honestly, it would be a lot better if I could do this full time though.
Yeah,
If I had like even 1,000 people buy both volumes within the next couple of days, I could quit my job and start working on this full time because I mean, I think I sell the individual paperbacks for 17 because I only get like $6 out of it with every sale,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. The printing costs and
So
such.
yeah. I mean, the amount of royalties I get is not that great, so I'd have to market it at 17 just to get $6 out of it for
Right.
every purchase. If I had 1,000 people buy either of those volumes or both, I'd get like what, 6, $7,000 out of it. I could
Yeah.
pay for my rent and keep my life going and publish a book like once every month and a half.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's the
have
dream.
10 books already written that I can get, like, off the rails and get out there, but I don't have a great audience. I don't have it's not very large.
I mean, I think the work you've done so far, just with it being, kind of your, part time, kind of like side project thing, is really impressive, though, I do have to say. So, and what I'm going to do now is put your website on the screen here for everybody. And so if anybody's interested in ordering these books, I'd recommend you get the physical copy. So I'm going to order them as well because they sound really interesting to me. But I feel like you have a lot of passion in this. You're not just trying to chase money, as some
Right.
artists do. They get on the New York bestseller and it's just like, how did this book get here? So, and I
I
feel
see
like,
so many of those books hit
yeah,
that, like, New York bestseller label. It's like, haven't I seen, like, already 100 of these? How?
it's got to be a dick sucking contest for sure. There's no way it isn't.
Probably.
It's there's some conspiracy there. I just haven't figured it out yet. But if anybody's interested, please go to his website here. It is RISEN. Is it LN or IN?
Yes.
Okay, it is LN. Okay, I'm not. I was kind of unsure about that. So yeah, it's risenln.com, and he has electronic copies as well if you want to put it on your Kindle or whatever. And he does have softbacks. Would you ever do like a hardback version down the road after you're big and famous and all that good stuff? Do like a
If I do hardcover copies, it would probably be kind of along the lines of a deluxe volume,
yeah, yeah,
similar to the way that Berserk has it,
like an anthropology type thing, yeah, or
kind of.
anthology
It
rather.
it would it would be very difficult to get that to work though, because then I'd have to shove in like 60 chapters into one deluxe volume, and I can't make that work because, the first 2 volumes are a complete arc, and then that goes right into the next arc.
Absolutely.
So there's
Oh,
not
Runazar
much of a
asks,
transition.
what's your cut on the digital copies? He's interested in that.
I don't know. 'Cause there's no printing cost. It's
Yeah,
$9 for digital copies, but there's no printing cost.
I'm assuming you probably get a majority of it, and the rest is just like the
I think it's
download
like
fees.
80, 70 to 80%.
Okay, so you're still getting a pretty good cut even off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more interested in the physical media, ordering that. So I'll definitely order that. But
There's
do
actually
it
a
like
lot
token.
more art than what I have for the covers. It's just I haven't uploaded it all to the art gallery that I have on the website,
Okay,
and I haven't updated the website in months. I still need to remove volume 2 from the website
yeah,
in the sense that, because I had this kind of business plan where I would release the chapters after they're freshly written, like just recently written onto the website so that people can read them there. And then when I publish a volume, I remove the chapters coincided with that volume so that people who keep up with it as it's being written can read it for free. And if they want to support it, they can buy one of the volumes that gets published after the chapters get removed, kind of similar to the way that the CW app released episodes on their app for free and then remove them after.
Gotcha.
That's the kind of strategy I wanted to go with, but it didn't matter because I didn't have that large of an audience to begin with. So I just haven't really updated it in a long time, and I still need to because volume 2, the Amazon link that's connected to volume 2 is not on the website right now.
Oh yeah, I just have the volume one
Volume
one. Yeah, now is it linked on your Amazon though?
Yeah, it's on there. You can find it.
Okay.
If you go to the Amazon page, you can probably just find the collection of it, and it's pretty hard to find the story itself if you're not typing out Risen Sean Norris, like my full name with the story. It just doesn't pop up unless you type it out fully. Because if
Gotcha.
you type in just Risen by itself, you're gonna find a lot of books about Jesus.
Gotcha. What I'm gonna do is when I edit this video, and I'm gonna ask you after too. I'm gonna confirm all those links and stuff, and I'm gonna put those in here for everybody to see in the video. So if you want to, I'll try and get the other book too. Find that on Amazon wherever it's hiding, because I need to order it as well. So, but I'll put both those on here, and I will promote the site as well. After the video as well, because I think this is really interesting, and I think we need to support the next generation of like book writers and keep that alive, because
Absolutely.
I don't think this is something that needs to die. I don't think technology needs to, destroy something that's just been a essential part of humanity and is doing no wrong. It's only helping. And I don't think AI or vaccines or anything like that are ever going to take away the value of a book and a good story. So that was what caused humanity to become humanity. Is the first things we said to each other around a campfire when we discovered it. Is the
Yeah.
first thing that kept us alive was stories, and that's what defines us as people. It defines our culture and defines our families. So I think it's a very important thing
Hopefully
to.
before too long, I should also have volume 3 out. I just need to proofread it and edit whatever I can before I can publish it.
Yeah, I you should leave a
Publishing
you
the
should
book
leave a
itself
spelling
should
error
cut.
in there, so that way somebody
What was
thinks
that?
it's AI. You should leave a spelling error in there on purpose. That way, that way somebody thinks it's AI again.
Well, there's already letters or words in, Greek written into the book itself that, get flagged for misspelling anyways, so it
Oh,
wouldn't
that's
matter.
fair. Yeah.
And every now and then, I'll sprinkle in a couple of other different languages like Russian, Japanese, Spanish. There's one Mexican guy that dies while he's calling somebody a fucking pussy in Spanish.
Yeah, I'm sure the spell checker loved that. So
I'm the spell checker.
yeah.
No,
Oh,
Amazon has its own system for spell checking too during
oh,
their publication or, yeah, their publication process. They have their own spell checking system that flags any words that might be misspelled, and, it's done that a couple of times where it would look at a word that's being written in Greek and claim that it's misspelled because it doesn't recognize it through English. So, even if AI were to go through that, it wouldn't matter.
gotcha. Well, perfect. Well, thanks for coming by and let me talk to you. So I know it's out of the blue, and it usually is whenever I try to message people
I
for this type of
appreciate it.
thing. So yeah, yeah, it was great having you on. You're a great guy, and I can sense the passion just from how you talk about it and everything. I think it's really great. I'm excited. I can't wait to read the book. So I'm going to order it today, and Amazon, I'll be at the mercy of their shipping. So, but I'll get that in, and I will, when I edit this up too and put it in my collection of interviews and such, I will send you it, and I'll also promote it on X, and we'll see if we can get you some extra book sales maybe.
I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
You can't imagine how much this means to me to have this kind of interview. It's really important. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're interested in maybe doing more interview type stuff, for promotionals, if you have the time, I know you're a busy dude. So
Oh, dude,
I
I can make time
yeah,
whenever.
I can get you in touch with a good buddy of mine, Jigs. He does interviews as well, and I think he'd be interested in this. So, I mean, he's black, so he probably doesn't read, but I mean, he'd
That
probably
doesn't.
he'd
Oh my
probably
god.
he'd probably love to have you on. So, he's one of the few that can use a computer. So, yeah, yeah. Runosaur
Honestly,
says he's going to snag it
one
next
thing I
week.
would like to
So,
do with you is that doing like kind of reviewer discussion types things. Like when you finish reading the book and you want to discuss what you liked about it, I'd like doing interview videos like that with you if you don't mind.
oh yeah, I'd absolutely love to do that. Yeah, I got to read it first, but yeah, let me get it in, read it, and we'll just keep in touch, okay? And then
Of course.
yeah, and just let me know any new stuff. And yeah, because I just I think this is a really good thing to promote. You know, we need to have stuff like this. I'm tired of seeing the fucking. I had oh god. So I'm gonna rant for a second. I had this random anonymous email send me a picture, an edited picture of the Morning Glory milking farm, but it had my fucking character as
Oh my
the
god.
Minotaur, and it was like the cover of the book, but it was me, and I don't know who it was from. I got it in my fucking folder, and it was from a like non. It was like a burner email, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I made a post on X about it because it was funny, but it was like it's like it's just like books like that, are willing to be memed, but then we get good stories like Risen here, and you're having a hard time selling. So I think people need to exercise their brains on stuff that's important and not the fucking slop of, gooning as
It's
much.
especially important these days when American culture is being eroded from both the inside and the out, where other people from other countries are claiming that America doesn't have any culture at all,
Yeah.
and that is also a big part of why I write even more fervently is because I want to prove that America has culture and I want to contribute to that culture in a way that I think is constructive, and I think writing books the way that I am with I did adapt a lot of, Japanese kind of writing styles with a bit of more Western take to it, but it's still American at its core,
Yeah. Yeah, you are
and
a
I
you
wanna
are a
do
true
that.
American patriot, and we support that here. So,
Speaking of American patriotism, I have an art piece being made by my main artist, the one who does all the cover work.
uh-huh.
Um, he's working on a very biblical art piece that I will want to share with you when it's finished.
Ooh.
Um, I think you will really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Also, too, if any of your artists want to be included in that too, I'd actually like to get a hold of some of your artists too, because their work on your site is fantastic. Like this artwork's really good. I'd like to get a hold of them and maybe send them some business as well. So because if you've worked with them and you didn't have a problem with them, because you and me are kind of like the same brain cell on that type of workflow, then I could probably trust them with getting some work done from them if they're not too busy. So I'd be really interested in that.
I work with them pretty often. I don't know if they'd be too busy about it. The one thing I think might be an issue is doing an interview with them because
No, no,
they're
no, no.
from Indonesia.
Oh no, nothing like that. Just actual like artwork being
Oh,
commissioned
just
and
like
stuff.
actual
Yeah,
commission work.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, I don't know. I'm sure they wouldn't be up for an interview. No, that's okay.
All right. Yeah, I can send you a link to their account so you can get in touch with them.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I'll put it on the screen too when I go through post editing. So I do the video, and so I'll just show everybody off. Did they have X's too, or
Yeah, they have X.
I'll put
And
them on the
I think
screen.
they're actually the most active on X, but I think the algorithm is really fucking them over. They have my buddy, he has 10,000 followers and he used to get really big numbers, like in the tens of thousands for his artwork, but now he's getting zilch.
Yeah,
So
their algorithms
he
are so
needs this.
fucked.
But yeah, I will let you go so you can finish with the editing process. I need to work on my own editing process and
try and publish volume 3 as fast as possible.
Sounds good. I'm going to close up the interview now. If you could just remain on the phone here, and I'll just go over a few extra details after the show. But thank you, everybody, for coming by. Make sure to visit the site, risenln.com. And if what you see interests you, be sure to support this American patriot in his process of becoming the best novel writer of all time. And check out his books. They sound really cool. If you like Dark Souls, if you like medieval stuff, if you like Greek mythology, it's perfect for you. So please support him in this. And I will see you all next time. Actually, I'll see you all on Monday. I'm in getting interviewed, so that should be fun. But bye, everybody. Thank you so much for coming.